So the first one we have here is, during the bid process, one of the bidders calls the architect and asks a question of clarification on the drawing set. The architect should, question mark, and then we have 4 possible answers. Produce an appropriate change order to correct or clarify the information. Add the question to a list for possible future addenda. Answer the question. In order to keep all the bidder responses for equal for apple-to-apple comparisons, you should never answer the question. Everyone must use the same documents for their bid response. So this one is really just sort of setting up to see if you understand a couple of different things. And the first one is that in answer D, a part of it is correct, but a part of it is definitely wrong. So the part that's correct in answer D is everyone should use the same documents for their bid response. It's really important that when you have bidders, multiple bidders, looking at a set of drawings, the specifications, the bid forms, it's already a pretty confusing situation. You want to make sure that you don't have subtle variations between one bidder and another. So it's hugely important that everybody's using the same bid information. But the earlier part of that answer says that you should never answer their questions. Well, obviously you should answer their questions. That doesn't make any sense. If they have real questions, you want to get real information back. It doesn't make sense to not want to get real information. So we like part of D, but not D. So we know that it's not D, and we know that answering the question is actually a bad idea too, so it's not C. Now, why would just answering the question be bad? Well, because if you answer the question with one bidder, that means not all of the bidders get the same information, and you want to make sure that they all have the ability to have apples to apples information. It's not reasonable for one bidder to know one clarifying piece of information that other ones don't, and it could either drive their prices up or their prices down. It's just that you wouldn't be able to know that their price was based on the same information that the others would be. So then it comes down to A or B. And we know that it's not A because if we look at A again, produce an appropriate change order, right? A change order, a change to what? Well, the change of a change order is a change to the contract. But you're at a bid phase. We don't have a contract yet, not until one of the bidders is chosen, and then they have a contract, get a contract with the owner, presumably an A101, AIA A101 owner contractor agreement. And so you only use the term change order once you already have a general contractor already associated with the project. So that means that our answer is B. And so B is add the question to a list for possible future addenda. Now, if it's a good question and it's an important question, it might speed the process to creating the addenda. You could send an addenda out with just only one question and one answer. But the concept here is that as the architect, you have put together the bid forms. You've put together the way that you want the contractors to respond. You've created the package that's including the drawing set and the specifications with the project manual. And that bid form has a breakdown on it about how you want to get the information back. And so you're trying to create the way that the contractors are going to give you the information. You're trying to sort of manage that process. And one of the things that's going to happen, bound to on essentially any bid package, is that you might find mistakes or just things that you think should have additional information, or something that the owner said after they looked at the bid set and you thought, well, maybe that's not quite what we meant. And then the bidders are likely to have questions. And so you're going to sort of put together all the questions that you get. And as you get a sort of a grouping of good questions, you're going to put those into what's officially referred to as the addenda. And you might have 1, you might have 2, 3, 4, and they would be named and dated. And then you group those questions together and you answer the questions or clarifications. And then that addenda gets issued and it becomes an official part of the bid set, which then becomes an official part of the contract set once the bidder is chosen. So it's a very specific process. You gather all the questions that come in either from in-house or from the bidders. You put it all together into an addenda. Just it has to be dated, and the addenda has to be numbered so that it can be referenced in other contract information, and then submit that addenda to all of the bidders. So that way they have the drawing set, they have the specifications, they have the bid forms, and they have all the addenda, and that creates the entire bid package.